Good morning. It is Tuesday and we are getting started with lesson 1-8 in our activity book. This is page 19 if you want to go ahead and turn to it as soon as you finish watching this video. I want to go ahead and answer a couple of these problems on video for you. We are doing the same thing that we did yesterday with changing fractions to have common denominators, except with today we're going to subtract instead of add. So these problems, these first three, are asking you to compare the two fractions, and then you're going to go ahead and subtract. So I have 7/9 and 5/6, which are not common denominators. So I know that I'm going to have to change them to denominators that they have in common. So I could multiply them together. 9 times 6 is 54. That's quite large. And I know that they have something else in common. I can list the multiples. 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, and I can see that 18 is something that 6 has in common. 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18. So sometimes listing the multiples, if you think there might be something else, is going to make things a lot easier. So I'm going to multiply both of these fractions by a fraction equal to 1 in order to get a denominator of 18 at the bottom. So always multiplying by a fraction equal to 1 to make equivalent fractions. 9 times 2 is 18. I do the same to the top as the bottom. 7 times 2 is 14. 6 times 3 is 18. So I do the same thing to the top. 5 times 3 is 15. And now I can go ahead and subtract. 15/18 minus 14/18 equals 1/18. Because this is a subtraction problem, this one, 15/18, is larger or greater. So I know that this one has to go first in a subtraction problem. So if I'm answering the question, which girl used more ribbon? Well, it's whoever used 5/6, which is Jasmine. I'm going to write her name on the line. And it says, how much more did she use? Well, because I've compared the two and subtracted, she used 1/18 yard more, making sure I included a label. I'm going to go ahead and do number 2 now. So Mr. Sue and Mr. Franks are in the same book club. Mr. Sue is 5/7 of the way through the book. Mr. Franks is 3/5 of the way through the book. So I can see that these fractions do not have a common denominator. So I want to make sure I change them so that I can see which one is more. I can't compare them the way they are. I don't have any way to look. This one's missing 2 pieces. This is missing 2 pieces. I know that 7ths are smaller pieces, but I just don't have enough information to be able to compare. So I'm going to put my fractions down, and since this is a 5, I know that I have to have a denominator that either has a 5 or a 0. So I'm going to count by 5s to see if I can figure it out if there's something before the product of 5 times 7, which is 35. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I think 35 is the least common multiple. So I'm going to put that down as the denominator. I'm going to take both of these fractions and multiply by a fraction equal to 1 in order to make an equivalent fraction. 5 times 7 is 35. I do the same thing to the top. 7 times 5 is 35. I do the same thing to that numerator as well. 3 times 7 is 21. 5 times 5 is 25. Well, whoever had 5/7 definitely read more because 25 is bigger than 21. So I'm going to write that down. 25/35 is greater than 21/35. So I'm going to write Mr. Sue here because that's who did it, who read more. And it says how much more, so I need to think about how many more pieces is this. Well, all I have to do is really count, right? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There's only 4 missing pieces between the two. I could also subtract 25/35 minus 21/35, and 25 minus 21 is 4. So that means that Mr. Sue read 4/35 more of the book. Hopefully it's a good one.